the highest IBond fixed rate in 16 years. What your new rate will be depending on when you bought your IBonds, plus why we're buying more IBonds and who might want to do what we're doing. Hello, members and super savers. I hope you're healthy and well. Finally, here it is, the November IBond rate video so many of you have been waiting for, with actual numbers rather than just predictions. Predictions, which by the way, were pretty good, or? The announced IBond fixed rate for November came in at the very top range of what we had estimated, but more on this very soon. These are the 3 highly anticipated topics I'll be covering in today's video. As usual, here's our front of video disclaimer. For a detailed disclaimer, please refer to the end of this video. Let's dive in now, folks. As I just showed you, this is the IBond fixed rate for all IBonds issued on November 1st, 2023 through to April 30th, 2024 that was announced on Halloween. And I've always loved Halloween. It's one of the 2 American traditions I miss the most when we lived abroad, the other being Thanksgiving. But Halloween has taken on a whole new meaning now that the Treasury announces the November IBond rate on October 31st rather than on November 1st like they used to. Anyway, I digress. Probably too much candy. Going back to this November IBond fixed rate of 1.3%. If we scroll down, we can see that the last time the IBond fixed rate was this high was over 16 years ago in May of 2007. Now, as I always say, IBonds won't make you rich, and neither will this fixed rate of 1.3%. But that's not what IBonds are designed for anyway. That's what the stock market and your other investments are for. But this 1.3% fixed rate is certainly better than the most recent fixed rates over the past few years, as you can see here. And especially for those of us who are using IBonds to inflation-proof a part of our longer-term portfolio and or as an inflation-protected emergency fund. Here's how this new annualized IBond rate is calculated. So we have the new fixed rate of 1.3% plus the new semi-annual inflation rate of 1.97%. times 2 because the IBond rate is quoted on an annualized basis. That gives us this 3.94% here, plus the new semi-annual inflation rate of 1.97% on the new fixed rate of 1.3%, what I lovingly refer to on this channel as the bump, as our Diamond NestEgg regulars know, because, well, it is a little bump. That's this 0.03% here. Add all this up, and here's the new annualized IBond rate for all IBonds issued on November 1st, 2023 through to April 30th, 2024. And for those of you who've asked, while the fixed rate stays the same for the 30-year term of an IBond, this semi-annual inflation rate does change every May and November, as does the bump if your fixed rate is more than 0%. Meaning that your annualized IBond rate also changes every 6 months from the date of purchase. If you're new to IBonds, check out this IBond interest video here, which I've linked below, for the detailed IBond interest formula that we dissected last year for the members and super savers on this channel, as well as for more information on how IBond interest works in general. And here's a table of the must-know IBond basics. If you already knew all of that, thanks for your patience, and let's move on now to the next section of interesting numbers. Here's what the new annualized IBond rate is for existing IBond holders. This row shows when your IBonds were issued, when you bought them basically. This row shows the annualized IBond rate at the time of issuance. This row shows the fixed rate at the time of issuance. And this row shows the new semi-annual inflation rate of 1.97% times 2 to get to an annualized number. This row shows the new semi-annual inflation rate adjustment on the fixed rate, the bump. And this row shows your new annualized IBond rate based on the November IBond rate reset. So if your IBonds were issued on November 1st, 2021 through to April 30th, 2022, here's the rate you'll be getting after 24 months of holding your IBonds. If your IBonds were issued on May 1st, 2022 through to October 31st, 2022, here's the rate you'll be getting after 18 months of holding your IBonds. If your IBonds were issued on November 1st, 2022 through to April 30th, 2023, here's the rate you'll be getting after 12 months of holding your IBonds. And if your IBonds were issued on May 1st, 2023 through to October 31st, 2023, here's the rate you'll be getting after 6 months of holding your IBonds. And do keep in mind that because these rates are annualized rates, you'll need to divide them by 2 to figure out what your actual earnings are over the given 6-month period. Right. So what now? Yes, we are buying more IBonds, but not with new money. Rather, we'll be redeeming our 0% fixed rate IBonds to buy more. As many of our Diamond NestEgg regulars know, IBonds serve a dual purpose for us. First, as inflation protection for a part of our retirement portfolio, and second, as an inflation-protected emergency fund once the 12-month minimum holding period has been met. So, given that we're just leaving our money sitting with Treasury Direct for a rainy day, or hopefully until retirement, why have that cash sitting there with a 0% fixed rate, just keeping pace with inflation, when we can have that cash sitting there with a 1.3% fixed rate and stay 1.3% ahead of inflation? And that's why we're redeeming our old IBonds to trade in the 0% fixed rate for the current 1.3% fixed rate. Now, do keep these considerations in mind though, if you decide to go down a similar route. If you've held your 0% fixed rate IBonds for less than 5 years, the new IBond fixed rate of 1.3% that you'll be getting, it will make up in a little bit less than 8 months for the early withdrawal penalty of the last 3 months interest at the previous IBond semi-annual inflation rate of 1.69%. You'll need to pay federal income taxes on all interest earned when you redeem your old IBond to buy the new one. So make sure you set some cash aside if you don't want to be hit with a surprise come tax time. This, of course, assumes you've chosen the default option of paying IBond taxes upon redemption and not annually. The clock starts ticking again from the very beginning when you buy the new 1.3% fixed rate IBond, meaning you'll have to hold your new IBond for at least a year before you can redeem all or part of it, and you'll need to pay the early withdrawal penalty of the last 3 months interest if you decide to redeem your new IBonds between years 1 and 5. When you redeem, you earn 0 interest in the month of redemption, so it typically makes sense to redeem earlier in the month rather than later. When you buy, you earn the full month's interest in the month of purchase, so it generally makes sense to buy later in the month rather than earlier. But don't wait until the very last day because Treasury Direct usually needs at least 1 business day to process purchase orders. If you've thought through all this and whatever other factors may be relevant to your specific circumstances, then redeeming 0% fixed rate IBonds to grab the new higher fixed rate as a long-term investor may be something to consider. And here's the video with the exact month to redeem your IBonds if your IBonds were issued on November 1st, 2021 through to October 31st, 2022. I've linked it in the video description below for easy reference. And yes, you can redeem $10,000 face value of IBonds in 2023 and immediately buy another $10,000 face value of IBonds in 2023, assuming you haven't purchased the maximum limit of $10,000 this year already. If you have already maxed out your $10,000 annual purchase limit this year, but you still want to buy more now, there are a number of different ways to do this. You can find all those videos here in this IBond video compilation. And yes, again, we do have nearly everything on IBonds on this channel. The other option you have, if you've already maxed out your IBond limit for this year, is to just wait until January 1st, 2024, or possibly even the last week of April 2024 to see how interest rates and inflation evolve over the next few months. So, there are 2 main reasons we're redeeming our 0% fixed rate IBonds to buy the new 1.3% fixed rate IBonds, rather than just using new money to make our purchase. Here's what those 2 reasons are. 1, we feel we have enough inflation protection in our portfolio, so we don't really need to add more IBonds in absolute terms. And 2, this allows us to have more liquidity in the non-inflation protected part of our portfolio so that we can act quickly when better yielding investment opportunities come along. Because as many of our Diamond Nest Egg regulars know from this recent video, also linked below for those of you who haven't seen it yet, we expect rates on treasuries and other types of bonds to keep trending upwards overall in the coming months. Now, that's what we're doing, our financial journey. And everyone's financial journey is different. If you're just starting out on your inflation-protected financial journey, and unlike us, you don't have enough inflation protection in your portfolio, then you might consider buying IBonds with new money rather than redeeming old 0% IBonds to buy new ones with a higher fixed rate, or possibly even buying some TIPS, the IBond's slightly more complicated sibling. TIPS stands for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, because at the time of this taping, the real yield on TIPS, what's essentially the fixed rate equivalent for an IBond, the real yields on TIPS across the entire maturity spectrum are more than 1% higher than the fixed rate on IBonds, as you can see here. As I mentioned, TIPS can be quite a bit more complex than IBonds, and they also don't work as well as IBonds as an inflation-protected emergency fund. But do check out this video here if you want to learn more about the similarities and differences between IBonds and TIPS, and the 3 questions you should ask yourself first to see if TIPS might be a good fit for you and your portfolio. So, what are your plans? Buy more IBonds with new money? Redeem old 0% IBonds to buy new ones with a 1.3% fixed rate? Buy TIPS? Or buy other treasuries, agencies, corporates, or munis? Drop a comment below and let me and everyone else know. All right, members and super savers, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. And if you did, I'd love to invite you to continue to support our channel through membership so that we can keep producing one-of-a-kind, objective, sponsorship-free videos for you and for our super saving community. Come for a chat at our next live member Q&A on November 17th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out our latest member Muni and corporate deep dives. Check out this video here to learn more about Diamond NestEgg membership, or visit our channel page or the join link in the video description below. See you again very soon with more brand new wealth building content for your financial journey.